What's up, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you here with my in-depth Dream Mirror deck profile. So this is one of the decks I picked up from Rising Rampage. I feel like this deck has a lot of potential, it's the deck outside of Tinny that I believe that came out of Rising Rampage that if Konami decides to give it future support, which we know Tinny is getting future support, the deck can have some potential. The deck has a really unique playstyle. It kind of revolves around field spells. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and jump into it, and I'll kind of explain to you like in depth what the deck does. So we have 3 Ikelos, the Dream Mirror Sprite. So all Dream Mirrors share the same effect. If they are special summoned by a Dream Mirror, they gain like certain effects, which Ikelos is the Stratos of the deck. Whenever she is summoned via the effect of a Dream Mirror monster, she gets the ability to add any Dream Mirror card from your deck to your hand. They all share the same effect, so like as long as there is a Dream Mirror of Terror on the field, she has a quick effect. She can tribute herself as a cost and summon a Dream Mirror, Dream Mirror Mara from the deck. So that's something you guys got to understand. They have to have the opposite field spell in order to tag out. So to go off with the Sprite, we have the Mara. And the Mara here is, she essentially is the only way you get the big knights out of your hand. When she is summoned off of a Dream Mirror monster's effect, she allows you to special summon 1 Dream Mirror monster from your hand. So like essentially there's like a low ceiling combo that you can do with the Mara. You pretty much open Mara with Joy, and then you tag out the Joy for the Sprite. The Sprite gets you the Dark Knight or the Black Knight. And then during your opponent's turn, you have the ability to tag out the Sprite for the Mara to summon the Black Knight. But we'll just move on up here. So you guys we're playing 3 Morpheus, the White Knight. Morpheus is the kind of like the what's it called? The Forerunner, Cosmo Forerunner of the deck, if you ask me. So they all also, if you guys didn't know, if you have Dream Mirror of Joy on the field, you can tag out the Mara into the Sprite. So with Morpheus, the Dream Mirror White Knight, you have the ability to tag him out if you have Terror on the field for the Dark Knight. But it's his effect is when he is summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror monster, this card you can activate this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effect. So he's kind of definitely one of the weaker one. And then for the last Dream Mirror monster we have right now is Dream Mirror Black Knight. Black Knight, essentially, when he comes down, he's a Dark Destroyer. He targets 1 card on the field and destroys it. And then if Dream Mirror of Joy is on the field, you can tag him out for the White Knight. So these are all the Dream Mirror monsters we have. So the deck has a few problems in the sense of these high-level monsters. We have no way to get them out of our hand except by the Mara. So like sometimes it's bad. You'll open like a lot of monsters and no field spells. Or you open these guys and a field spell, and you need to open these guys and a field spell. But hindsight in the theory with the deck, like even if you open the wrong corresponding field spell that you need for the Sprite or the Mara, during the end phase you have the ability to correct it and put the right. So essentially instead of playing like 1 turn ahead, you're playing 1 turn behind. So like it's kind of like the deck's very controlly. So essentially in that case where you open like with the wrong mirror and the wrong Mara or the wrong Sprite or Mara, and you open up with the wrong mirror, you have the ability to control the game to get it back to your tempo since you'll be playing like 1 turn behind, if that makes sense. But that's it for the Dream Mirror monsters. That's all we have of them right now, is these ones right here. Artwork's also beautiful. Like, I mean, if you guys can see, like, Morpheus the Black Knight, Morpheus the White Knight, Mara, Ikelos the Mara, and Ikelos the Sprite, they're all beautiful. But that would probably be my, well, for hand traps, we're playing 3 Valor. You could play 3 Ash. I actually would recommend playing Ash. However, we had like a jank tourney, and we had decided to, we all group chose not to play Ash, but I was playing Valor before I even had the Ashes in here, in the sense of to play Chaos monsters, so we could put out a lot of damage. Because that's what the deck really lacks. Like, Morpheus is the Black Knight's your biggest hitter, and he's 28. Even the White Knight's only 1,000. And then the Mara's 500, and then Ikelos here is 0. So, like, the deck really struggles to put out damage output. So, I wanted to maybe play, like, some Chaos monsters to potentially put in higher damage. Onto the spells. We now have 3 Dream Mirror of Joy. So, essentially, so there's Joy, and then here's Terror. So, let me explain to you what Joy does. Joy says, your opponent cannot target Dream Mirror monsters you control with attacks or card effects except the one with the highest level. You must control a light Dream Mirror monster in order to apply this effect. Dream Mirror of Terror says that your opponent, whenever they special summon, you burn them for 300. You must control a Dark Dream Mirror in order to apply this effect. So essentially, they have no. Well, let's go over. So those are they're pretty good effects. You have like a protection effect and then a more burn aggressive effect, which allows you, since the deck cannot put out a lot of damage, you have the ability to burn them slowly. And since you will be playing like a grind game, but let's go with the cons. They do not, on initial activation, they get you nothing. You need to see a field spell with a Mara or a Sprite in order to get your plays going. But there is a cool, like I said, there's a low ceiling combo with Joy and the Mara that allow you to get set up a dark Black Knight play for your opponent's turn, which is pretty good, I guess. It's only 2 cards, so it means the 3 cards in your hand could potentially be like Fantasy Strike and like Call by the Grave or a Hand Trap, whatever it need to be. But that's probably it. Like on activation, they get you nothing, which is probably one of my biggest cons of the deck. Is like they're such a field spell reliant deck that there's no way, like if on activation they searched you a Dream Mirror, which allowed you to get like the Mara or the Sprite, that would be great, but they don't. So that's probably one of the biggest cons with them. They don't do enough. But the pros with them is, even if you open the wrong corresponding Dream Mirror, they both share the similar effect that during the end phase you can banish it to activate the opposite one from the deck. So essentially, even if you're playing 1 turn behind and you open Terror and not Joy, during your end phase you can banish the Terror, activate the Joy, and then you're just playing kind of in the sense of like a turn behind. So that's why we play certain cards, and sometimes we have certain interactions that allow us to slow down the game to replay at our tempo. But these are Dream Mirror Joy, Dream Mirror Terror. We beautiful artwork, guys. Can't really ditch them. Disc Konami there. They gave us some beautiful artwork. But these are the only 2 field spells we have, and I hope they're the only 2 field spells we get. I hope Konami doesn't throw in like another wave of support and introduce more field spells. We'll leave it here. Just give us better cards in the future set. I am opting to play 1 Mystic Mine. Again, I'm not, like, the deck has a problem where sometimes you'll either see too many monsters or too many field spells. And you don't want to do that. You want to open the Ikoloses and the field spells. You don't even want to open the Knights and the field spells. But sometimes you open, and then like you don't even want to see multiples of the field spells because you have the ability to get them from the deck. So that's how come we're still playing just the 1 Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine allows us, along with, in conjunction with our Demise of the Land, allows us to pretty much stop our opponent and slow the opponent down to play our game until we can get back on our feet or till we can get the combo pieces we need to start pushing aggressively. 1 Terraforming is at 1. Believe it or not, you have so many field spells in here. Terraforming is just good. It can grab you the Mine, it can grab you the Terror, it can grab you the Joy, whatever you need. And then 2 Demise of the Land. So Demise of the Land is interesting because since Terraforming is at 1, when your opponent special summons, you can play it. You can then activate a field spell from your deck. So essentially, whenever we decide to do any of our Dream Mirror plays and they Ash, and then we're like, okay, because this deck is very fragile to Ash, or they even have a Call by the Grave and they Call by the Grave like your Ikelos or your Mara, you're kind of just sitting there. So as soon as they special summon, you flip Demise of the Land, and then you activate Mystic Mine, like stopping your opponent completely, because then your field's empty, and then when they've already committed 2 or 3 monsters, like it's going to be really hard for them to remove those monsters to nothing in order to shut off Mystic Mine. But also, Demise of the Land is really good because you can just have a really good how do I put it? Like, it allows you to push really aggressively, because like during the end phase, you'll get the right mirror, you do the effects you need to with like Dream Mirror of Joy, and then you activate this to get Dream Mirror of Terror out, and then you start going aggressively again. So it's really good. For consistency, 3 Pot of Expensiveness. So this deck does not use the extra deck whatsoever. There's a few cards like Linkuriboh and Boral, let's see here. His name's Barricade Board Blocker. So like outside of those and like some of the nightmares for utility, you don't go into the extra deck that often. Like it's not like Linkuriboh is probably the most prominent extra deck monster you go into. I also believe like in order to play this deck super competitively at this moment, if you want to play it, you need to play Pot of Extravagances, because it allows you to pretty much fix your brick hands, which, believe it or not, when you open any of the Knights are pretty much bricks. So it just allows you to fix those hands. It's pretty much as long as you don't use your extra deck, it's 2 Pot of Greeds and an Upstart. So I do recommend you have to play it. and then we'll go ahead and move on. Double trade-in. So trade-in here is because when the knights get to your hand, they're level 8. When these knights get to your hand, you have no way to get them out of your hand except the Mara. So they'll just sit in your hand. So I thought, trading would be a good option to pretty much trade them in, draw 2 cards, continue on with their play. So, yep, 2 trade-ins. And then 2, but should be 3 Call by the Graves. I ordered a third one, it got lost, so I'm actually very upset with that. So I've had to play it 2 ever since I ordered that last one, and I've refused to buy another one online. I'm just going to wait and go get it from my locals because I get it right then and there versus having to wait. So it's been like almost a month since I ordered my third one, I haven't got it. But you do need to play 3 because all of them are subjectable to Ash, and nothing will hurt you harder than them ashing one of your summons from the deck. So play Call by the Grave. Also, Call by the Grave is also a very good weapon against this deck. A good Call by the Grave against the Ikelos or the Mara or any of your knights sucks all the same. Monster Reborn. I was testing World Legacy Succession along with Monster Reborn, but then that required me to go into the extra deck more often than needed because the play would be Linkuriboh, then bring back the Mara or the Ikelos, and then you'd have like a Linkuriboh plus whatever you were going to try and do. But I thought that... excuse me, guys. I thought that that required too much. Monster Reborn is just good, allows you to just bring back anything, bring back another body to swing, push for damage, bring back your opponent's monster to push for more damage. Now for traps, 2 Dream Mirror Fantasy. In the beginning, I was testing 3 of this card. This card is definitely a 2 of. It shouldn't be a 3 of because of the setup it has. It's essentially the deck's Cosmojo, if that makes sense. You must control a Dream Mirror monster to activate it. Target one of each of your banished Dream Mirror Joy and Dream Mirror Terrors, because remember, at the end phase, they banish themselves. And then shuffle them back, and then banish 1 card on the field. So non-targeting banishment is awesome. It just requires, you can get it set up turn 1, but it just requires a lot of setup. You want to search this out. Potentially turn 1 or turn 2. It depends on how you want to go. If you can set up the Dream Mirror Fantasy play, or if you can set up the Black Knight play. It's entirely up to you. I enjoy setting up the Black Knight for flex points. However, the safest route is probably the Dream Mirror Fantasy. And also has the second protection that when Dream Mirror cards you control would be destroyed, you can banish it and protect them. They would not be destroyed. And I do believe that that's an instead of effect, so that is not once per turn. So if you both 2 these in the graveyards and they would destroy them twice, like say they go Raigeki and then they go Dark Hole, you can banish both of them. So very good trap, in my opinion. Allows you to really control the board. Fantasy and the Knight allows you to kind of control the board, which is essentially what I believe this deck is at this moment until we get more support. But moving on, for my spicy tech of the deck, 2 Jar of Avarice. So there'll be a lot of times you end up plowing through your resources by tagging out. And they tag out from the deck, so you always have to have targets in the deck in order to pretty much keep in the grind game and keep in the game. So you need to have some way to put them back there, and a Jar of Avarice is the only card that I could find that would put them back. And it allows you to draw a card, but it allows you to put back 5 cards. 5 is really important because that's such a tremendous resource rejuvenation given back to your deck. You can put back any card too. You can put back the Pots, you can put back the Demise, you can also put back the field spells if you end up having to hard activate them over one another. It's really good. Also, it allows us, if we open the level 8s in the hand and we use trade in to trade them in, we can essentially trade them in and then put them back with Jar of Avarice to hopefully tag out and still keep the engine going. For my these 3 cards, I opted to play 2 Strike. The reason I decided to play 2 Strike, so you can play Crackdowns. You can go the Tombox MXT TV way and play the Crackdowns, and then use them to link away into the Drag number 97 and then hit for a lot of damage. Or you can play, in my opinion, Strike. Strike allows you to negate an effect, which sometimes that, and a perfectly timed strike in a very unwell constructed chain link can just devastate a turn. And also just sometimes a strike on a very important summon or a very important effect can just flat out end the turn or put the opponent in an awkward position. And then not just 1 strike, but if you have 2 of them things, you have 2 of them things plus you have a strike or a Dream Mirror Fantasy set, it's going to be rough for them. However, I opted to play 2 Strike, and then I decided, and I might get a little bit, there's certain cards out there that I feared, such as Evenly Matched. What was another one? evenly matched, infinite permanence, like you name it. So I opted to kind of play, not really infinite permanence, more so Called by the Grave also. So this card will probably go up to a 3 of, and maybe future builds depending, but also 1 Judgment. I know Judgment's at 3, and you could argue to play 3 of this. However, Judgment doesn't negate effects, and that's what I really wanted. I wanted a card similar, like, not Warning, because Warning stops summons, but Judgment stops spell or trap, so I kind of want to have access. And, like, you do draw a lot, guys. Like, believe it or not, like, you draw a lot with Jar of Avarice by putting back stuff. You draw a lot with Trade-In. You draw a lot with Pot of Extravagance. You draw so much that the 1 of Judgment will float to your hand eventually. But space was so tight, and I really valued the strikes over the Judgment that I wanted to play a 1 of, but I didn't want to do like 2 strikes and 1 Warning. Instead, I chose to do 2 strikes and 1 Judgment. So hindsight, you guys could probably take out the strikes and play 3 Judgment, or you could just take out this Judgment and play 3 strikes. I just wanted to have the answer to the Evenly and an answer to Call by the Grave if it were to come to that. So moving on, we're going to go into the extra deck. So extra deck kind of really doesn't matter. Right now, I will show you like the cards we mostly use. There is an engine I would like to test in the deck, which is the Shaddoll engine. For going second, which I believe you could pop a Wind to pop a Construct down, because they're all light, they're all lights and they're all dark. So I mean, like the potential is there to mix the decks, but you got your Field Center. Probably the most abused card, which believe it or not, I can't find my 3rd one either. Is 2 Linkuriboh, which should be a 3rd Linkuriboh. So 3 Linkuribos all the time. This card is the card you go in the most. So like, yeah, so like essentially the extra guys is Extravagance targets, but I'll show you like what we use for utility, which Linkuriboh is utility. Barrel Borg Blocker. So this card's very interesting. It's when you summon it, you discard and add a field spell back or a continuous spell. So sometimes when your opponent destroys your field spell, or you're forced to whack over the Demise, or is forced to use like Terror or Joy over the Mystic Mine, you can make this guy and add back the Mystic Mine to kind of like stall more, I guess is the best way to say it. You have the ability to slow down the opponent if needed, and it allows you to add back the field spells that you have to hard activate over. Like if you need Joy, but you need Dream Mirror of Joy, but you have Terror activated, and you activate Joy, Terror goes to the graveyard, you can just grab back the Terror to ban. You know, it's really good. I can't really complain about it. I played 3 of it because like essentially like I do want to have access to it, 1 of them at all costs. So. Now outside of that, it's just like these. Like I said, they should be 3 Linkuriboh, but like these are the cards you use the most. Moving on, we're playing. Oh, okay. We're just playing 1 Mermaid. It's not even in here. It's just here for Well, I'll take that back. There was an instance. So, like, you can make this with the servers popping down, then put, like, a Dark Knight here, then all the monsters your opponents control lose 1,000. It allows you to plow over bigger monsters that are higher than 28, I guess. Then we play 1 Cerberus. Probably should be 2. Then we play 2 Phoenix, and then 1 Unicorn. Like I said, these are just utility. Like, suppose, like, have them if you need them. You know, like, if you banish the Unicorn, it's not the end of the world, because I do play another Link 3 that essentially is spot removal, similar to Unicorn. But, I mean, Phoenix is probably the best in my opinion. And like when I tell you guys that Called by the Grave sucks, Called by the Grave sucks. So like that's why we decided to play 2 Phoenixes. I'd almost even contemplate playing 3 Phoenixes over the Cerberus or 3 Phoenixes over the Mermaid, and just try to hit those Called by the Graves before you tag out your Dream Mirror monsters. Then of course, now this is kind of just fodder, I'd say. 1 Underclock, 1 Priestess, 1 Lamphranticus. These can come up, like especially Underclock can come up, but like it's not exactly like needed every turn. But I mean, they're mostly just there for extravagance targets. 1 Trigate, never made it. It's just an extravagance target. And then 1 Nirgritsu. Nirgritsu is probably the replacement with the Unicorn, because Nirgritsu allows you to send targets, and Unicorn allows you to shuffle targets. So like, if you banish the Unicorn, you have the Nirgritsu. If you banish the Nirgritsu, you have the Unicorn. It is harder to make the Nirgritsu because it requires 2 Link monsters, but sometimes like 2+ Link monsters. So like pretty much Barrel Blocker and Barrel, Borg Blocker, and Linkuriboh. Make it with the greatest ease, and we can easily make those. So yeah, so that's the deck profile, guys. That's 15 card extra deck, like I said, mostly outside of like the Nightmares, the Linkuribos, and Linkuribos and the blockers. It's mostly just extravagance fodder. You know, that's all it really is, to be honest with you. The deck is really good. It has a lot of potential, if you ask me. I feel like the deck has the ability right now with this first wave of support. A lot of people have been giving it kind of some crap, but I do believe the potential's there. Konami's just got to give us a few more busted monsters, maybe a busted spell, and like kind of maybe like another trap or a continuous spell or a quick play spell. And I think the deck will have a whole lot of potential. People have been calling it worse Trimids, but I believe the deck is better than Trimids. It's just right now where you're missing, like, it's the first wave of support for the TCG exclusive, so I mean, like, it's not going to be the best. Like, name me one TCG exclusive that was really good right off the release. So, but that said, guys, this is the in-depth deck profile. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please comment down below. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for future content. If you guys have not checked, hop on over to the recent video we uploaded. It's the Argent Saga opening. If you guys are interested in that, please let me know. I'll gladly do a video showing you how to play it. Maybe do like a dual video with it to kind of show you how gameplay goes. Just let me know. It's made by ARG, which has always been like a huge secular circuit from Konami that has always been supporting the Yu-Gi-Oh community with large, humongous cash prizes. So remember, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. I think I already said that. Oh, so well. But this is Charles from Team COG signing out.